Hey, howdy, and welcome all to the Big and Bright Podcast. My name is Nick. This here next to me is James.
Howdy.
Not in our regular studio today.
Nope.
We're elsewhere because our regular studio is currently occupied. We've got a whole big situation about that. Also, been a tick, I would say.
A little while.
Been a bit, right? That's mostly James's fault.
No,
I
got sick once.
He got sick, and just got sick for 3 weeks now. James has been sick for a very long time, so we're gonna lay that all on him. And let's go ahead and talk about Texas news.
I think I think I'm gonna lay some on you.
You're gonna say lay some on me, okay?
Yeah. You decided to allow your wife to have another kid. That's on you.
That's true. I did.
Way to go.
Allow that to happen.
Way to go, Nick. Thought you were the man of the household.
No, we live in Texas. I can't disallow that.
That's fair. Yeah, that's right. No, sorry.
We live in Texas.
New law.
Yeah, we live in Texas. It was past the 16 week or 6 week?
6 week.
It was past the 6 week mark. So
gotta roll the dice.
Kind of out of Daddy's hands, man. But I did. I had another little baby boy.
Awesome.
Really sweet. Really awesome to welcome them back. But
I got to hold him. It was awesome.
I have not slept in 4 days, so this might be a kooky episode. But we're really excited to get back here with you guys. Really excited to be here with you guys. We have not abandoned you. Alas, we have not abandoned our beloved state of Texas, which has been gracious to us because there really hasn't been a lot happening in the time that we've been out anyway.
The couple of stories that we're going to talk about today is kind of like, one of them, I guess, could be considered like maybe major news. But the other one's kind of like we're trying to find a controversy.
Obviously, the biggest situation right now is the election, which is the situation all over the country.
Vote this Tuesday, yes. November 8th.
November 8th, that is when I will be voting because I am a good American who votes on Election Day instead of voting early like a Democrat. James, you wouldn't know anyone who voted early, would you?
Yeah.
Who's that?
That'd be me.
Yeah. Why would you do that? All we do on this show is complain about how early voting goes forever and ever and ever. And now you're actually going to early vote?
I wanted to make sure that my vote was going to be tallied and counted and already stored.
Tallied, counted, already stored. It gets tallied and counted on Election Day.
Yeah.
They have a machine and it goes, and then it's there. It's tallied.
Tell that to Houston. Tell that to Dallas. Tell that to other weird areas around Texas where stuff just magically takes more time. We've always been able to count.
We're not in
all
Houston.
The votes.
We're not in Dallas. We're in the DFW area.
But hold on. We've been able to count all the votes on election night. Pre-technology.
Yeah.
Now the technology's in play. It's weird. I've seen reports from people who are the left-leaning saying, guys, don't get mad and don't get weirded out that it's not counted on election night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm weirded out because we have way more technology. It should be like 5 minutes. Here you go. You're done. Here's a count.
Not only that, but there are still other countries in this world that have democracies. All of them seem to be able to count things on election night.
Weird enough.
Yeah. It's been fairly crazy.
But before we get started, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm going to cut you off here. Be sure to like, subscribe, share.
Yeah. Cast your vote for this podcast.
Maybe. It's just give it to somebody else and say, hey, check these two nerds out.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not great at marketing, so we really kind of rely on that.
Yeah, we rely on you, the people, to do this for us.
So, there's my little spiel about liking, sharing, subscribing, and ringing the bell. Awesome. Now go say whatever wrong thing.
No, I was gonna say we've driven past several polling places now, and there's a lot. Okay, so I need a call from Justice James on legality of this. There are a lot of people that are like wearing regalia and carrying signs in the polling places. Is that legal? Can you do that?
It's murky because you're not allowed to post your sign past the 100-foot marker, which if you've been to a precinct, you'll see it. There's usually a magic piece of tape somewhere. It's like basically that's your stop line, period. But if you're a person, kind of can wear it. Like basically if I had like a MAGA hat on and walked in, it's like, he has freedom of speech.
Yeah.
He's not telling everybody, hey, everyone, vote for MAGA. But in actuality, he's wearing a hat saying, hey, everyone, vote for MAGA.
Yeah.
But I'm not yelling it. I'm not doing a stump speech. So it's kind of murky. A lot of times it kind of gets swept under the rug because, again, if you want to enforce that, just imagine the person being yelled at or taken aside it's not a First Amendment issue.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what I would do if it was me. Even if I didn't have a great argument, I'm still making the argument, and it's still going to take some time for a court to cipher this all out.
See, that was the thing, is I saw some of these people that were in line. I mean, and again, it's not like they're standing outside the building. These people are in line to go vote. And they're all wearing Beto shirts, and they've got signs and stuff like that. They have like little hand signs that they're holding. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's really testing the waters there for me. Which, just as an American, you just shouldn't do that because you're a terrible person if you do that. Regardless of
for Beto or
no, well, yes, but also regardless of which party you're supporting, doing that while you're in line to vote with other people who just want to go vote and be civil and do their duty and cast their vote. They don't need your nonsense. Most people, by the time they have gotten into the line, already know who they're going to vote for. I know of nobody who's standing in line like they're at Starbucks going, which one do I want? Right? It's a voting situation. They know who they're there to vote for. Your persuasive tactics are not going to work on them. Just chill.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's murky. It's not sure. However, you're also not allowed to campaign at a voting place.
Yeah.
Yet Beto did it this week. Nothing happened.
What did he do?
He was literally on the steps of the poll location doing a stump speech. You're not allowed to do that. That's very, very much illegal and against the election code. But no one cares.
Nobody prosecuted him. Nobody charged him.
No, I mean, think about it from an Abbott standpoint. If I prosecute my direct opponent, how's that look for me?
That's true.
This close to the election?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those like, yeah, I'm right, but opinion weighs a whole lot more right now than legality.
Well,
so it's kind of odd.
I mean, maybe there's only a 7-day limit of statute of limitations, but after Beto loses the election, I'd sue him then.
Maybe. But because, I mean, video lasts forever, so that is a weird thing. It's like, no, it's on video. This is you. This is a polling location prior to the election, not after the election, saying like I concede or whatever, but we're going to fight. This is before the election.
Yeah.
This could be seen as you are influencing voters directly in the line.
Absolutely.
You have the ability to do that. Pass the line in a little tent, and you could talk to them. If they say no thanks, you got to leave them alone. It's basically like a court reporter who is trying to talk to witnesses, or I'm sorry, wow, this is blanking on me. The jury.
Yeah.
You could try to talk to like, hey, would you like to talk about the case? It just ended. No, thank you. You got to leave it alone. You can ask the question. If they want to disclose the information, you're allowed to. But after they say no, you got to back off. Yeah. And basically, that's how it acts for election stuff. So I can say, hey, come vote for so-and-so. You're like, thanks, move on. Do you want to talk? No, I don't. All right. That's basically it.
Dude, I love taking those posters that are coming out, right? I love it. Because I get to either A, lie to them, or B, B, be like, oh man, the best one was, and I usually I've stopped doing this in my old age, but I loved asking for the Spanish ballots.
Yeah.
Just voting for like 4 Republican tickets on a Spanish ballot, and then coming out and they're saying, who did you vote for? And I was like, I voted for Senor Trump. But yeah, exactly. So you should absolutely go vote on November 8th.
You should.
You should definitely do it. You shouldn't have voted already because this is America and we vote on Election Day, which is when you should go vote. That being said, there are some people, James, who don't feel like they have the ability to vote in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Which this is an interesting concept, right? It's really crazy how you see the differences in party size, right? Just by raw numbers of people and how that affects their narrative, right? So by raw numbers, there are more Democrats in the United States than there are Republicans. Now, Republicans have the advantage when it comes to the electoral map because of where we live, right?
Thank you, founding fathers.
But there are more Democrats by raw numbers. So you look at the narrative, and what are you seeing? Republicans, first of all, are always accusing Democrats of what?
Communism.
Well, that's not true. They're always accusing Democrats of voter fraud. Right?
Yeah.
Causing more, putting more votes into the ballot. Whereas Democrats
kind of goes to communism, but
where Democrats are always accusing Republicans of voter suppression. Right?
Oh, you're always suppressing the vote.
Always suppressing the vote because the Democrats have the higher raw numbers.
We haven't had a court case to prove it yet, but it's definitely happening.
Yeah. Stacey Abrams is definitely the governor of Georgia, even though she's definitely not.
Definitely not. And certainly won't be on November 8th.
We did not suppress 50,000 votes. Right, in the state of Georgia. But this is not about the state of Georgia, this is about the state of Texas, and Texas is not immune to that narrative.
No, we're not.
College kids are now whining, which that's not exactly
it's not really a shocker.
It's not really a man bites dog story, right? College kids whine. College kids whine all the time.
Hold on? Does that day end in Y? Yeah. That checks out.
I was in college, and I did a lot of whining when I was in college. College kids just naturally are whiners for the most part.
I did a lot of beer drinking. I didn't really like wine.
A lot of beer drinking. Yes, I drank just about whatever you would put in my hand.
Yeah.
That being said,
we were not good college students.
There's an issue. There's an issue with polling locations in their proximity to university campuses.
Early polling locations. That's the biggest beef about the entire Texas Tribune article.
You can't early vote. You can't early vote because...
Well, no, you can. It's just, it's so far.
How far away is it?
Well, the one college they actually talk about the entire time. They don't mention any other ones, but how far they are from the actual college. Mm-hmm. The one they decide to gripe about, A&M University of Commerce, the biggest university in Texas. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Has only one early voting location, which is 14 miles away.
Oh, dear. You'll have
to. Do you have a tissue? I mean, I'm sad.
I'm not sad. I'm not sad at all because you shouldn't be early voting. There should be zero early voting locations.
Right, but bifurcate it from shouldn't be early voting.
Okay.
Say you want to early vote. Is this unreasonable?
Is that unreasonable? No, that's not unreasonable.
Why not?
Because there are buses, and there are trains, and there are friends who have cars, and there are bicycles.
Nick, no. You're at a college campus.
Yes.
You're assuming they have cars.
Somebody has a car. I went to school at in a very remote location out in central Arkansas. There was one polling location for my entire city, right, which had 2 colleges in it. Yeah. And I believe it was something like 5 miles away from the campus, right? Mm-hmm. I still voted. I cast my very first vote in the United States presidential election for Hillary Clinton.
Of course you did.
Not a lie.
Of course you did.
And it was in the primary against Obama. So, but I was able to vote. I was able to go caucus. I was able to do what I needed to do. And furthermore, when I was in college, if you wanted to get just about anywhere, you could. Because even if you didn't have a car, you knew somebody that had a car. And even if you didn't have a car or knew somebody that had a car, there were systems, especially for things that are big public events like, I don't know, voting. They had means on campus of getting you to those places.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that TAMU Commerce has busing, right? Don't they have poll buses?
They literally have MTV Campus Challenge. They gave the university a grant of $3,000 to bus voters to the early polling place site, and they had it like 3 buses, only 3 buses. It's a 14-person van, by the way, going on like I think the 28th 3 times. And they're like, that's not enough. We got all these people registered because they boasted about like we got all these people registered, but where are they going to go vote? There,
yeah,
right there. But then they also have that same van run every 20 minutes on the actual election day.
Yeah.
And the election day polling place, here's the kicker, half a mile away.
Half a mile.
So you're griping that you couldn't early vote, which you have 12 days. You don't know, like you said, you don't know a friend that has a car.
Yeah.
You don't have a car. You don't have an Uber card. You don't have anything. You have
feet. You can walk half a mile. I could walk half a mile after a binger in my college days, right?
I went to Lubbock, so
you can walk half a mile, okay? That's not difficult. So yes, I don't want to hear the whining on this. And the article that we're looking at, this is from Texas Tribune, by the way, link in the description. They're also saying that this affects, and again, this is a Democrat, right? Democrat publication.
It's nonpartisan, though.
They always have to lean into not just young people not voting, which the Democrats need because young people vote more Democrat, but also it's racist.
Oh, right? Didn't see that coming.
It's racist because this particularly affects historically black college and universities, which HBCUs. That's becoming a thing. HBC. Oh, we're gonna go to see some HBCUs. Stop saying that, right? Or WBCUs, right? Back when I read What was that?
WBC? What the hell is that?
Or HWCUs, which is historically white colleges and universities. When I read that,
I don't know why it just sounds racist when
I read that rag by Ibram Kendi, the How to Be Anti-Racist, that was all. There's like a whole chapter about education, and they kept saying HBCUs and HWCUs, and I'm just like, dude, just stop. This is the most cringe thing I've ever seen. So I really hate that this acronym is becoming commonplace. That being said, there are a lot of historically black colleges and universities, according to this article, 55% that have voting locations within a reasonable distance or something like that is what it's saying, right?
But early voting...
It's specifically for early voting, which is...
Yeah. Only 50% of Texas' 36 public universities have early voting sites. Okay? And 20% of the nine historically black colleges also have that. So 2 out of 9. Okay. Where's the suppression? Still waiting on that. Still waiting on them saying you can't. Well, no. You're talking about early. It's no. I'll even read it. What? There's a stupid little thing here. Okay, you actually already said it.
Yeah.
About the 55% of public universities have voting locations on campus.
And that's what they consider a reasonable distance.
Yeah.
Is it on campus?
Yeah. 9 of the 12 universities with the largest student populations have early voting locations this year. Meanwhile, among the 12 schools with the smallest student enrollment, 3 have early voting locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs money.
Here's the thing.
And
there is no person. Voter suppression means that there are people who are in this country who want to vote and are not able to. There is no such person in the United States. I challenge you to find. Well, the thing is, though, is that they can shift it to where any sort of mild inconvenience. Oh, they can't bring the voting poll to my front door. It's voter suppression, right?
No.
That's not true. There should be considerably, in my opinion, there should be considerably more effort involved in voting, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too easy. Not a little bit. I think it's a lot too easy to vote, right? My wife early voted, which, we're having conversations in therapy about that.
So you're divorced?
No, I can't do that. That's against the law. But we are, she ended up early voting, and she walked in, did not know if she was registered or not, and said, "Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll show up. I'll figure it out."
Yeah.
And she walked in, voted, and left. And she said, "I don't know if I'm registered." And they go, "Oh, it doesn't matter if you're registered. We can register you here if you need to do that." Right?
I did not know they could do that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Texas does not offer same-day registration.
Well, that's what the lady told. I know this is third-hand information, but that's what the lady told her.
The same article says that we do not allow that because Texas does not allow same-day instant.
Well, okay. Well, I'll look it up. Maybe she meant. I'll have to ask her. Maybe she meant that she could register here and then vote on election day, which is what she should do. But nonetheless,
but it is super weird. It's usually the Democratic side that's always complaining about this, like you said. But there's yet to be any court case. Now, you're not that old you're older than 2 if you're watching the show, most likely. You heard the Democrats call Republicans idiots, goons, deniers about 2020 election. And the few cases that have been put up there, granted, the bigger cases, a lot of smaller cases have actually been just swept on the rug. People don't pay attention to it. But there are a few big cases that happened, and they got thrown out. It's like, you're an idiot. See, you have no proof.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the standard, show me your proof.
Yeah.
You got nothing. You got stats that you make dance. You got this whole, you say, well, black people didn't vote as much. Maybe they just didn't want to vote. Have you ever thought of that? People don't all want to vote. People don't think like you sometimes. Say, you know what? I think this guy's a crook and this guy's a crook. Screw it. I'm not voting.
Maybe they don't like you.
That's okay. You have that. I don't see it that way.
They can't not like us,
Yeah.
James. We're the Democrats.
Believe it or not, there are some people that are just purely apathetic. It's like they are eating from the same trough. I get the exact same thing, except it's in a blue color or a red color. Nothing changed.
You and I have a friend who...
We don't have friends.
...actively doesn't vote.
Yeah.
Like, actively, on purpose, doesn't vote.
But then talks about it, and I'm like, shut up.
Then he talks about how he hates the country. He's like, well, I don't want to vote because I don't want to be held morally responsible for what those leaders do. And I go, well, great. Stop talking about it.
Well, let me see what a nicer phrase would be. Some would call that no gestational fortitude.
Gestational fortitude.
There's other words out there.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not that hard to find.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
The fact is,
Man up or not.
You can't find these people that cannot vote. Voting is ridiculously easy to do in this country, and college kids like to whine. College kids need to stop.
Well, even so, the Democrats did bring a suit about this, or a few suits about this, about temporary early voting locations that were in college campus. They sued them, saying that this was suppressing students' votes, and it got dismissed. So there's a court case. It got dismissed.
There should be a law. There should be a law in the country that if the defendant is exclusively made up of college kids in any class action lawsuit, it should be dismissed. Because college kids don't know what they're talking about.
And I know we're kind of going really in depth with this one because this is interesting. It's a really long article, and they're just trying to solve this. Like, it's obvious right here and here and here. And it's like it doesn't match up. They even had the Democratic attempt to solve the problem, which is Rep. Gina
Hinojosa.
There you go, Hinojosa.
Hinojosa is not a particularly. That's a pretty common name, dude.
I just want to say Hinojosa.
Hinojosa.
Anyways, Austin, Democrat, introduced a bill requiring counties to place voting locations on campuses with at least 10K students. All right, that's only 10,000, very low threshold.
Sure.
Which that would cover 20 public universities and 1 historically black university. If you remember what we said at the beginning, right now there's 2, so you're offering less.
Yeah.
So. Way to solve
it. We're going to go ahead and say deals I will take 100% of the time for 200, Alex.
Yeah.
I would absolutely. If you want to pass that bill, I have no problem with that bill. Pass that bill, right? I don't care.
Yeah.
But just if you pass the bill, stop whining.
But also, how much does that cost? It's a lot. It's really awesome to talk about these big ideas. How much does that cost? No one knows. No one's talking about it. I'm assuming it's not cheap.
Yeah.
You have to have a secure location. You have to have people who are poll workers, and you have to make sure that after the ballots are gathered, are they also in a secure location and are stored in a secure location after you transfer them? A lot of money involved with that.
Yep.
Then, Mr. Senator Jose Menendez, San Antonio Democrat. He offered an amendment to that, lowering it to 5,000 students. Okay. This would have 30 public universities, 2 being black universities, 1 private black university. But it doesn't state whether it's for early or election day locations. It just kind of vaguely says, I want to do it. All right, way to solve your problem. Again, I'm with you on, I wouldn't care, but how much does that cost?
Sure.
Tell me the cost, and then we can start having a debate. You don't want the debate. You want to pretend to suppression.
I think, so this would be an interesting thing. I think that you should make Election Day a national holiday, right? So that people can get off work and get off school to go vote.
No, I'm not going to shut down the country for one day.
But you take away all early voting. No. Say, hey, we're gonna make this a national holiday, but there's absolutely no early voting.
You can't do that.
Why?
Because you.
We shut down the country on Christmas and Thanksgiving all the time.
Really?
Every year.
You're in convenience stores?
I mean, yeah, you can go to convenience, but that's what I'm saying.
In other supermarkets?
That's what I'm saying is you don't have to make it a full on shut down the entire country. You can just make it like any other national holiday.
Yeah, what about those who work convenience stores, other places who are just trying to make a buck?
Then
they can't vote.
They can vote. You keep things open long enough to where people can vote after work or before work.
But also, that entire law would involve the federal government telling the states what they can and cannot do with their elections. No.
Well,
I'm not a fan of that because that allows the guy that's over 2,000 miles away, because right now it's been a guy, there's yet to be a girl there. So it's a guy about 2,000 miles away getting to dictate with little marionette puppets saying, here's what you can and can't do.
That's not what's happening. He's simply declaring it. He's declaring it a national holiday.
Right, but you just said
it has nothing to do with the election.
But you just said you get rid of early voting. That then takes over a state's ability to decide what they want to have for early voting, how they want to conduct early voting, because their voters are the ones who consider that in. You're saying now one guy gets to make the decision for every 330 million, probably more than that, people are in the United States. No.
Yeah, you get to make that decision because that's the right decision.
No, you should. The federal government. That's the federal government getting involved.
You shouldn't. No. You shouldn't early vote. Early voting is for.
That's fine. You can have that opinion, but I'm saying that you cannot let the federal government dictate that, because while you think it has a great effect, all you're doing is now saying, "Oh, but that door's now open." You're basically a camel in a tent. Once that camel's in a tent, it ain't leaving. It's coming. It keeps coming in and ruining everything.
Yeah, it's a very libertarian argument.
But this is a weird. This whole article is weird though, because it's a complaint about a half a mile to trip to vote.
You got to find something to complain about.
Have you ever driven farther than half a mile, Nick, for anything?
I drove half a mile. I drove more than a half mile to get here today to record this show.
Yeah.
On no sleep.
And they're pretending that the students' schedules are that packed. I've been to university for a while.
Longer than you should.
Full disclosure, I somehow got 4 years of education and stuffed it into 6 years, magically. A good chunk of that I worked. And I had free time.
Yeah.
I had free time on my hands.
Plenty of free time.
It's not that difficult. Quit pretending that you're always in class. I know you're not.
Yeah.
I know you're not. Because most times the max they will allow you to take is around 16 hours. Anything above that, you're going to have to get validation. And if you're doing that, you're typically close to graduation or you're about a year out. So you're trying to like pack it all in so you can finish up at a certain time. And at that point, you're more serious about your college and don't really care about a lot of these things. You're not the people I'm talking about because if they were interviewing you, that meant you had free time. If you're doing that many hours, you don't have free time.
Yeah.
So if you're working and going to school at normal time, which is roughly about 12 to 14 hours per semester, yeah, you have time.
Yeah.
Don't play this game. I've been there. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, you're just like, oh, my schedule is so tough, I cannot make it. I'm with you. You know a person has a car if you don't have a car. That's not hard to do.
Yeah.
2, your schedule's not that full. Quit lying to me.
Yeah.
Quit pretending that it's so full. Because I guarantee you're probably sitting at home for at least an hour scrolling through Instagram.
Yeah.
Scrolling through Twitter, whatever you do to unwind, TikTok, whatever it may be. Yeah, don't give me this crap.
When I was
grow up.
Yes. When I was in college, I worked a job. I was in full-time class. I was in the Greek system, and I was an athlete.
Oh, you were in Greek?
Yeah, I was in Greek.
Nerd. Yeah, so was I.
And I was an athlete, and I had plenty of time to do that kind of stuff. I also had a bike. That was the thing. I bought a bicycle. So I bought a bicycle off a guy that I'm pretty sure was a homeless guy. The bicycle didn't have a seat for the first like year that I rode it.
So how'd you sit on it?
You can stand on the pedals. You just didn't sit there. You just don't sit out.
Oh, you did experiment in college.
I did not have a seat. I would just sit there and just pedal on the bike, and I would go to class.
You got some other stories we need to talk to you about later.
Facts here, friends, are you can make this happen if you need to. Nobody in this country is not able to vote if they want to. But you're always going to have that big push at the end to do 2 things. 1 is claim that voter suppression is happening. 2 is claim that some of these candidates are evil people and that they need to be sued.
Yep.
Right. We saw this with Kavanaugh. So
wasn't a candidate, but yeah, they tried to still like
start seeing people get Kavanaugh. Yeah. Right. Well, the thing is that Kavanaugh. I think this is actually.
Hold up. A side note. Isn't that weird how it can? But Kavanaugh survived. All right, Kavanaugh's on the court, but I mean, he was razor thin. It was almost a Bork.
Yeah.
So if Kavanaugh didn't make you think he would have taken over the board, like they'd be Kavanaughing or Bork was easier because Bork was small.
It would stay as Borking.
Because that was atrocious.
So if you go through that and you don't make it, you've been Borked. If you go through it and you do make it, you've been Kavanaugh.
But you're slandered for the rest of your career. You're Kavanaugh.
So, but the thing is that people try to do this on a regular basis, and this particularly happens with people who are almost guaranteed, or if not absolutely guaranteed, to get the actual spot.
Yeah.
Case in point, the Collin County DA.
Woo! It's a big story.
Going through some stuff. Now, here's the thing. This is what I mentioned earlier. Well, you talked about how Kavanaugh wasn't a candidate. That's actually relevant because right now the Collin County DA is running unopposed.
Yes.
So he is also
what's going on?
He's also not a candidate.
Yeah. Well, he's candidate in theory. I'm with you there. What's going on there, Nick?
I would say what's going on there is that he has been a little too close with some of the ladies in his office, and they have been coming out and saying that they didn't feel entirely comfortable.
Yeah.
Right before the election, in which he is certainly going to win because he's running unopposed.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. About 30,000.
Yeah. The district attorney, Greg Willis, first assistant DA, Bill Werski, it's claimed they fostered a toxic work environment. And as Nick just stated, that work environment meant inappropriate touching, inappropriate moaning, inappropriate looking, hugging and touching, kind of same thing. But yeah. Full frontal hugs is what it's been like. Hug, but all right.
Yeah. Full frontal.
I feel really bad because the way it kind of describes it, my very dark humor head went, "Oh, he's a human Pepe Le Pew."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's just trying to be nice and way too nice.
So this guy didn't get Kavanaugh'd, he got Cuomo'd.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the thing, a lot of this stuff on here is, I mean, it's gross. If it's true, this is some...
Yeah, one woman alleges he would, like I said, give full frontal hugs, held too long, and moaned while rubbing her back.
Yeah.
That one woman says that. A few others say similar things to that scenario. Another time he would stare, this is the DA, Greg Willis, stare at their breasts and moan and counter with that advance with, sorry, you just look too good not to get excited. Yikes.
Here's the thing. When you say things like full frontal hug held too long, that I'm kind of like, okay, well, that's subjective. Like,
that's a lawyer, dude. That's a lawyer doing their job.
Yeah, that's kind of like, oh, well, whatever. But then when you say moaning, it's the moaning. That's the problem. Stop moaning, Willis.
What you doing, Willis?
What you doing, Willis? Stop moaning. Right, and I mean, he goes into some more details.
Invited a woman to his hotel room at one point. Said, "Let's see what happens."
Let's see what happens.
Or what was it? We can explore.
Yeah. The other thing is, he had a woman sitting in a bar stool and was like stroking her leg or something.
Well, yeah, he was had her in a bar stool. She was wearing a skirt. He made sure his chair was eye level with that skirt cut, and then was rubbing her leg and moaned. And in my whole head, I'm like, why don't you just kick him?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm the chick sitting there, once you start rubbing my leg, like, all right, it's now past the joke point.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave, or I'm going to say, what the heck are you doing? Or I'm going to say, on the show, I'm going to say, what the heck are you doing? I might have different words off show. But come on.
There is a power dynamic there. I mean, you don't want to lose your job.
Yes.
Kind of thing. I understand.
But if you know what's happening, why don't you start recording them on your cell phone?
That's true. There's a lot of moving pieces to this.
If there's a lot of actions going on and a few women knew about it, then don't get me wrong, people talk to each other, so they know, like, did you hear about so and so? Yeah, but you gotta be quiet about it. Start recording. I've been in a situation where it's like, I'm not dead sure if my bosses are doing things up to legit. So I press record, put it in my pocket, and walk through. By the way, Texas, one-party consent state. I don't have to let you know I'm recording. Period.
Yep.
You can call. By the way, if you call me, it's a good chance you're recorded.
I love how it's called a one-party consent state, as if there would be like a no-party consent state.
Yeah.
They're just being recorded. No one's recording.
No one's cool about it. It doesn't matter. We're recording everything.
We're recording everything. Right?
But yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of how he's kind of mechanic, kind of going back to that aspect of the Kavanaugh Bork thing.
Yeah.
He is unopposed.
Sure.
And the worst thing about it, though, I think, besides, if these things become to be true, he's married to a judge in the same county.
Yep.
And she's also unopposed.
Yep. That's a big issue. And let me go ahead and say, before we get into the sort of details of this, we need to make this very clear. This behavior is to be utterly condemned, and is utterly condemned on this podcast, right? Greg Willis, the things that I'm reading in this are gross.
It's true.
They are, if they're true, it's gross, and this behavior is absolutely not only not appropriate, but violative in the workplace. This is an example of toxicity, in my opinion, right? If you have guys that are doing this, just don't be gross.
Well, it's not only violative of the workplace, it's also disrespectful to your wife.
It's incredibly disrespectful to your wife.
You said in front of God, I'm with you till death. Mm-hmm. Again, these are allegations.
Except for this lady's leg that I'm going to stroke. Yeah,
these are allegations.
It's all,
Anybody can allege a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If it's no proof to it, they dismiss it. But if it were to be true, I think I'm actually a little bit more upset of I guess throwing away the, what do we call it, trust?
Yeah.
From your wife than these women.
Yeah.
Horrible things against these women, but if I had to categorize it and had a gun to my head, I would say violating the trust of my wife and then doing extracurricular activities.
Yeah, for sure. The violation of the marriage is the big.
It is a direct quote from it's 75-page lawsuit, by the way. Direct quote. Willis treated many female employees as objects that, without their consent, must gratify his sexual impulses and personal vanity, while Worski runs the office as a crass, misogynistic fraternity complete with systematic hazing of the county attorneys, investigators, and staff.
Okay.
That's damning.
Yes. But also, and this is where we're going to pivot, right? So we've condemned Worski and Willis. If this is in fact correct, throw the book at them. They need to go, right? That phrase that you just read, that expression you just read, while damning, is also very unspecific. Yep. Right? There is not a lot in this is all about this is how it felt to work there. We're using sort of a metaphor, all this kind of stuff, but there was no specific this happened, right?
Yeah, so far we've talked about a few leg touches, a few untoward comments,
sure,
and staring at boobs.
Untoward content. And the thing about staring at boobs is that, like, people have shirts, right? This always drives me crazy. Women, if you're wearing a shirt, please make sure that it takes less than 2 seconds to read.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes I'm legitimately just reading your shirt, right? Yeah. But the fact is that you have things like that when you're talking
voting
about
rights means blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you staring at my shirt? It literally had the paragraph.
Give me a second.
I thought there was a joke at the end. I don't know.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that there are reasons.
Don't moan.
Yeah, the
That's
moaning
weird.
is a problem.
Don't do that.
Right? And the other thing is, maybe she's interpreting, I don't know, heartburn as a moan or something like that. But that's also kind of. Here's the deal.
I don't think you misinterpret moan. If I go, that's a moan.
Don't do that.
That's a moan.
Don't do that.
Why? Is it untoward?
It's uncomfortable.
There you go.
I'm gonna.
If I just did this though, you're kind of weirded out.
Yeah, still kind of weird.
But I go. That's what exactly.
That. Anyway,
when you did that, you went to super creep.
Yeah. The point being,
super creep.
The moaning's a big problem, right? Moaning, touching. The fact is that.
Can we hold hands?
We cannot hold hands.
I thought in the store we were going to hold hands.
At the very least, this is an issue where this guy just needs to learn how to check himself in the workplace.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this kind of behavior is just. I mean, dude, how old is this guy? This guy's been married for
He's in his
decades,
40s.
right?
He's in his 40s.
Or
50s. I'm not sure.
He's in his 40s or 50s. You're a grown man. Don't behave like that, right? That's how teenagers act. Don't do this, right? So at the very least,
okay. That's actually a good point. That's a good point. This is how a teenager who looks good in high school and the guy knows it.
Yeah.
Dates a few girls at the same time. This is how he acts.
Yeah.
Not a grown man who's married and has responsibilities.
This is the ultimate.
I don't think even frat guys are this bad.
Yeah.
I was in a frat.
Yeah, this is the sexual version of Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he is. He probably was that dude that had the money and the good looks in college.
But then he stayed in high school after graduation, wore that Letterman still. Yeah. And it's like, dude, you graduated, let it go.
Still got it. I want you to know, if you're a man if you're a man above the age of 30 and you behave this way, that's how most people look at you.
Yeah.
Most people see you as Uncle Rico from
Napoleon. Or oh, you're a child. No, I'm a man. You're a child.
You're a child, right? And so at the very least we have this. But as far as the lawsuit is concerned, this is very unspecific allegations, right?
Right.
With a couple of exceptions about things like the leg touching and the stroking and all this kind of stuff. But
rubbing the lower back.
Everything is up to misinterpretation. And of course the inviting to the hotel room.
Yeah.
The let's explore.
But can you prove that?
Yeah.
You got a witness testimony. That is evidence.
Yeah.
But if you're not credible,
that really is the issue. And this is kind of the problem with a lot of sexual allegations, is that things can be misinterpreted, misconstrued, which is why you need to make efforts to just absolutely be beyond the pale. Don't even mess with it. This is why I like the Mike Pence rule, right?
Right, but even Mike Pence, when he pulled that, he said, like, oh, he's a prude. He hates women. It's like he hates women by making sure he has no optics of showing that he's hurting women or touching women.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was gonna say
I'd rather be in that. I'd rather be in the boat of being made fun of as some pious. You're looking down upon us. Fine, if that's how you want to see me, that's okay. But at least I'm not going to be shown any light that, hey, maybe he's cheating on his wife. Nope. Never want that light to ever be there. I don't want the misconstrued whatsoever.
Absolutely.
I mean, here's I'll pull back the curtain. When I was in law school, I had a friend who's a girl, and we were working on a study, and we had to work together. And I told my wife, I said, hey, this person is coming to the apartment. Are you okay with this? Mm-hmm. And she said, yes. I said, okay. She knew.
Yeah.
I knew. The girl knows I'm married.
Yeah.
We did the project less than an hour.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of my house.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. And so we went to the pool. Very public place.
Yes.
That's around my apartment. It's like, No optics whatsoever. And my wife is very much aware. And when she came home, she came and joined us at said pool. And because I wanted to get out of the house. Like, okay, we did what we had to. And optically, this still looks bad in my opinion.
Sure.
But I got the heck out, and my wife was well aware. And if you don't do all those things, you're kind of inviting a situation where it's like, what do you mean you're at the house? Hold on, why didn't you tell me? Right, just tell her. Yeah. If she says no, guess what you do? You respect that no and go somewhere else.
Yeah. That is how married men, especially married men who are in the public eye, need to behave.
No, right? You don't do it. You just don't do it. But the thing about this is what's actually more damning about the case, besides this guy doing childish things, if true, is that the commissioner's court were compliant by this. They actually covered it up. They actually got reports. They said, "Yeah, it happens. You know how it is." No, it shouldn't be how it is. You should have done something. And so all 5 judges are actually being complicit in covering this up. One of them being Chris Hill, who's up for election as well. And this is where, for me, it kind of gets murky.
Okay.
Chris Hill, from what I know about him, because I don't know the guy personally, I haven't heard great things about people that I know in our small circles of law. But that could just be they don't like him. Welcome to being a lawyer. People like you or hate you. It's pretty much how it works.
Sure.
So this guy, the DA, Mr. Willis, is unopposed. His wife is unopposed. Chris Hill is opposed. And the county commissioner is opposed. And it's a week before the election.
Yeah. That's really the...
And I'm not saying that because they're all GOP. I'm saying that it sounds fishy because you're bringing something, the head guy whose head you want on a platter happens to be unopposed.
Yeah.
Who are you going to put him instead? Barney?
Yeah.
Alfalfa?
That's the critical situation here. Is that
that's my concern. Like
this is happening.
We are told we had to believe all women. Well, guess what? Women are people, and people lie.
Yeah.
So, no.
And that's the other thing. Was this filed at any time previously? Right? Were there any?
You said enough is enough week before the election.
Was there an HR complaint? Did you go to the police or the authorities at any time, right?
They say they did. They say they went to commissioner's court, made complaints, and they say if it's not more than 10, let it go.
And if that's the case, then okay.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna be way more. I'm gonna be way more inclined to believe you if you've taken action before. But if you waited till a couple of days before the election to file this allegation, this is the problem I had with Christine Blasey Ford, right?
Yeah.
Is that Christine Blasey Ford didn't
all of a sudden 12 hours.
Yeah. And also, she didn't go to the police. She wrote her senator, right? Because she wanted this to happen in the political sphere, not in the legal sphere.
And then she had 3 days of coaching from a lawyer, and all of a sudden that story got straight, but then immediately crooked when asked about it later on.
For sure. But there's a lot to that, but we're getting little whiffs of that here because this is happening so close to the election.
You see that?
I do. Right,
little BS there.
I do. I'm getting some waft of some bovine excrement. Right. Nonetheless, that is really a big issue with this.
That's my biggest one. Is it's why now?
And here's the thing, ladies. I want to say this. Now, there's a lot of them, and that's a big deal, right? That's what
helps their case.
That's why when people say, "Well, what do you think Bill Cosby did?" I went, yeah, no, but not. You don't have 20-something women come out and say that this happened and it didn't happen, right?
Well, hold on. We all remember Michael Jackson.
Which Michael Jackson happened.
Michael Jackson got found innocent in court.
I was just saying. Okay.
If that's your standard.
Anyway.
You're not wrong. Generally. I found the one little
point is you get a lot of people coming in and saying the same thing over and over again. That is a big deal. Okay, women, whoever you are in the defendants, if you're lying about this, you guys are horrible people, absolutely horrible people, right? If this is a straight up lie just because you didn't like the guy or you'd rather him not be in office, you're going to put these allegations out there. That is the bottom of the barrel, scum of the scum kind of activity,
right?
And I think that they know that, which is what's making me lean a little bit more towards this probably happened.
Yeah.
At least to some degree. Now, people tend to exaggerate, especially when you're talking to a court case, right? I mean, I remember I was involved in a court case a while back, and when I was told to talk about the defendant, right, by the defense, I was given the opportunity to talk about the defendant, and they said, talk him up. right? Really make it seem like he was a great guy and all this kind of stuff. The defendant was a great guy. Probably not as great as I think he is, but it was a great guy. But the point is that
you have to get the jury inclined,
especially when you're in this sort of thing. You have to sort of over embellish the negative.
We're not over embellishing. You're just really highlighting only the highlights. You're not saying like, well, objectively. No, I don't want objective. I want opinionated. What's your opinion, and that's it.
Yeah. So this kind of stuff happens on a regular basis. I don't think that necessarily. I mean, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle, leaning towards the sides of the. What's the prosecutors in this? It's not the prosecutors. What's the opposite of a defendant? Prosecution, right? Yeah. Leaning
petitioner, plaintiff.
Yeah. Leaning towards the side of the plaintiff. That's the word I was looking for. Right? Leaning towards the side of the plaintiff.
Let's say I do different sectors, so we call different things.
Point is, friends, the rule in politics and the rule in life, indeed, is just don't be gross.
Yeah.
Don't be gross and don't moan for no reason. Right.
I still can't get over that. That part's weird. It's like, if I heard that at all, I'm like, what are you doing? This is a weird joke. Stop.
If you moan, you better have some kind of condition.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you need to tell me.
Oh, we better be close friends.
I have chronic heartburn.
If I don't know you, you just go on my shoulder and go, oh, I'm like, who are you?
Don't do that.
We are about to have fisticuffs, my friends.
That's true. But we are not. We're not violent here in the state. Well, we are violent.
Well, yeah. In Texas. I hate you this morning.
But friends, the point is, remember, don't be gross. Be the stars at night. Be
big and bright.
We'll see you next week.